Hello, everybody. Welcome to Black Excellence Live. I'm your host and the midday host on Magic 94.5. I'm Queen Indy B. Thank you for joining us. This is what we're doing for Black History Month. We decided that we wanted to educate and enlighten Black business owners for this Black History Month. Because when our businesses are successful, our communities are successful. So basically, we'll be doing this every Tuesday, 6 p.m. And you can also have a chance to win $10,000 in advertising for your business. So please, let your friends know who own a business, your family, whoever. So what we're doing each week is we invited a special guest on to share tools and strategies that you need to equip your business for success in 2021. We all want to be successful. I want to be successful in my side adventures. So we're going to get started. Our first guest for this first episode or first part of the series is Leah Frazier. She is a two-time Emmy Award-winning entrepreneur and was recognized as one of Dallas's most successful women in 2015. She's a multi-licensed attorney turned marketing and communications guru who unapologetically left the practice of law to pursue her entrepreneur ventures. In 2020, Leah was recognized by Dallas Innovates as one of the future 50 leaders in Dallas-Fort Worth for tech, innovation, and disruption, and recently won the 2020 Inno on Fire Award from American Inno's North Texas Inno Media Outlet for her service to the startup, small business, and entrepreneurial community. Leah is the CEO and proud owner of Think3 Media, an award-winning creative marketing and communications agency focused in the areas of content marketing, social media marketing, communications, specifically in the diversity, equity, and inclusion landscape, and public relations services for brands spanning the industries of fashion, beauty, public speaking, the performing arts, food, lifestyle, and more. Her work has been featured and mentioned on Forbes, Vogue.com, NBC, CW, CBS Local, Chase TV, Fox TV, Good Morning Texas, Hot Living Magazine, D Magazine, CEO Blog Nation, and many other outlets. As a fashion expert, PR, and entrepreneurship. Now, Leah co-authored her first book in 2018, The Success Factor, which reached #1 as a bestseller for women and business reads, and was also awarded an African American Literary Award. She recently released her second co-author title, Promise, a global women's devotional, which recently became a bestseller as well. Now, she's currently working on her third book that is going to be released early this year, and her fourth book to be released in the spring of this year. And I had the pleasure of already meeting with her on last week, and I could not wait for this event because I need to hear everything she has to say. Welcome, Leah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited too. This is so much fun, and I'm so happy that you guys are doing this. It's much needed.
So what I want to know first is, what was your entrepreneurial journey? Like, how did it start? How did you get here?
It's like Biggie Small said, it was all a dream. It really was. Because I was on the path to law school and did all of that. You know, I took the Texas bar, passed that, went on to practice law at a private law firm and was sworn in before the United States Supreme Court. And also went and took the California bar because they had an office in California. So I really was on this path to just having all of these licenses, and I wanted to be a judge. And then I started having these dreams of fashion. And as you can tell, like, I like a lot of eclectic things. I like to shop. I was spending every paycheck. And so I was like, why am I having fashion dreams and I'm an attorney? and they just wouldn't go away. So I decided to get a certification in personal shopping. And one thing just kind of led to the next. There was women who needed what I was doing. I was shopping with them every weekend. That turned into blogging. That turned into becoming a fashion editor, to doing TV segments, to going to New York Fashion Week. And when I moved back here to Dallas in 2011, the fashion scene was just popping. So it was like, you got to make a choice, sis. You either got to do law or you got to do this fashion entrepreneur thing. And so I decided to go with the fun stuff. And so
absolutely. Yes, for the fun stuff.
I did the fun stuff and failed big time. But then pivoted once I learned that, okay, over the course of these last 7 or 8 years, I've learned marketing. I've learned how to be an influencer. I've learned branding, because those were all the things that I learned that allowed me to leave my full-time job. And then being a journalist and a blogger and doing all of that, I had this portfolio of editors and producers and anchors. And I'm thinking, there's people that need this info that these big guys are charging like $5,000 a month for.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I do it cheaper? And these are true businesses that really need the limelight, that can't afford it. And, I have a heart, so I felt bad. And so then I created Think 3 Media in 2015 for that very reason. And as soon as I got my first client, it was like through the roof. I was like, oh my God, I don't have the business set up. I don't even really have a name. Like, what what's going on here?
Who was your first client? What was their business?
No, I'll shout them out. Shout out to Indigo 1745 and Bishop Arts, Black-owned retailer. They sell both women and men's apparel in the Bishop Arts district. And they took a chance on me. And I just said, hey, I'm looking at your social media. It could be better. Let's change the format to more of like how fashion bloggers do it. Get a little models in there. I'll take the photos. I'll run your social media. And people noticed, the district noticed. And so then they started telling everybody, like, it's not us, it's this girl. So before you know it, I had client after client after client after client. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't have any other people to work for me. I don't even have a business name. I haven't filed anything. I don't know how much to charge. It was just crazy, but I knew I was doing the right thing.
But you jumped right in, and now you're helping other businesses be ready.
Yes,
be ready for the, all the business that's going to come their way. And that's the important thing right now, especially with COVID. The way we market has changed. So I'm really excited to learning a little bit more. Now, I want to just real quickly let everybody know, if you have a question or a comment, please put it in the comments section and Leah will get to it or I will get to it. So please feel free if you have any questions along the way. But I want you to tell us about PR yourself.
Yay, my favorite thing. So everybody loves, and I'm sure you get this too, everybody wants to be on the radio, everybody wants to be on TV. Everybody wants press and media. And what I found, again, just in my work, was that even as a journalist, was that there was so many small businesses who had these amazing stories, but it was the same people getting covered in the press, the same people on TV, the same people in the magazines. And even here in Dallas, I had a big stink a couple years ago because I was like, where are the Black business owners? Like you say your magazine is for Dallas and there's no Black people in it, And so I decided that I knew that the majority of that was because they had these larger PR firms that were able to get them the placements because of the relationships they had with these media outlets. And so at the end of the day, I said, look, there's people that pay Think 3 Media to do it. But if I can teach you to do it yourself, I feel like it will reflect our community. And there's no skin off my back to tell you how to do it. And it's not that hard. And once they hear your story, and if I tell you how to pitch it the right way, it could do wonders for your business. And so I created PR Yourself. It started off as just little workshops I did for 2 years around Dallas. I did them online. I did them at colleges. And then I decided to turn it into a course, and it's helped so many people. And now it's a book, and now it's a podcast. And there's so many people getting, Leah, I was in MSNBC. Leah, I was in Dallas Morning News. Leah, I got this mentioned in Cosmopolitan, and the sales are through the roof. And I'm like, you know what, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. And so I'm teaching people how to do their own public relations.
What's the first thing you tell people when it comes to public relations?
Do you really want to know?
Yes, I do.
The first thing is it always comes down to branding. You can't, what you don't want to do is, right now we're in this culture of, I see what everybody else is doing on social media and I need to catch up. No. Make sure you have everything together. You want to have the full package polished, because what you don't want to do is approach the press and have this major TV story and they go to the back end and they realize, oh, links on your website don't work. I tried to put my email in and it gave me a 404 error code on your website.
Oh, wow.
Or you don't have a website. Or
Mhm.
I had a client come through the door where I was yelling at him because I was like, what's up with your social media? So, we scrub social media accounts. What does your LinkedIn look like? That's important. So before you even try to PR yourself, you need to take a really deep dive look at your brand as a whole and say, does it tell the story that I want it to tell? Is it polished? And if you're selling a product, if my TV segment or radio segment or magazine feature goes really well, do I have enough products on the back end to service the amount of people that want it? Because if you don't, what are they going to do? Google review. I ordered it, it didn't come on time, or it was sold out, or you know what I mean? So those all the things, that's the first thing I always say: branding, 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 branding. Get your message down, your values down, your goals down, and then make sure everything is polished before you even attempt to get press and media for your brand.
Be ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yes.
Be ready so you don't have to get ready. Now, what are your top 3 PR or marketing strategies for a business?
Specifically for small business owners, I know it's not the most popular thing that they want to hear, but I tell everybody, you need to get on LinkedIn. Everybody thinks LinkedIn is this resume push, or I need to find a job, or I need to hire somebody. And that is not what it is. LinkedIn it supports all of your content. All of your decision makers are on LinkedIn. The people who have the capability to make financial decisions. So a lot of people want sponsors. A lot of people need investors. A lot of people need venture capitalists. They're not partying on Instagram. The party is on LinkedIn. So if you're not working or if you're not virtually networking on LinkedIn, I'm in there at least 2 or 3 times a day. I have Matthew Knowles in my circle and somebody else.
Wow.
I know.
How can I be down?
I know, Indy. I have Beyonce's head of philanthropy in my circle too. So I'm like, one step away.
That's what I'm talking about.
But LinkedIn is huge for small business owners, and especially telling your story, putting it out there. You never know who's going to see it. And these are the people who have the money that can afford to either invest in your business or purchase your product. So from a CEO or a founder standpoint, you need to be very active in LinkedIn and grow that to the capacity that you can. And a lot of people don't do it. And I don't know why. Don't know why. Yeah.
So LinkedIn and
LinkedIn.
What else? Is that like beyond Instagram, Facebook, any other social media? That LinkedIn is that real connection with people.
LinkedIn is the real connection. And really, social media is tough because it really depends on where your audience is. So some people need to be doing TikTok. Some of you need to stay off TikTok. So, if you want to do the dances with your kids, that's fine. From a business perspective, maybe your audience is on Facebook, or maybe your audience reads email. So my tip is, on a social media front, go out and just Google consumer marketing trends for 2021. And it will tell you what your target audience, where they like to hang out. And where they tell you they like to hang out, if it's Instagram and Facebook, do that. Don't try to do all 6, because do 1 or 2 and do them very well and serve your customer where they're at. So on a social media front, especially now during COVID-19, back in March of last year, we saw the numbers of engagement go up by 50%. And so when I got that report, I believe one came from like a Vogue's business site. I told all of my clients, if your audience is here, I need you to do double. double content, double Instagram lives, double videos, double the postings, because what are people doing all day? They're scrolling.
Yeah.
And social media, people don't give social media enough credit as a form of PR in your business. You need to be visible on social media every single day, every day. And if you can't do it, hire somebody that can do it. But
yeah, I think I need to hire somebody. I'm not, and you would think I would be great. I'm not. And I tell people all the time, people who come to me and say they have a business, but they don't have an Instagram, they don't have a Facebook, or they don't have a website. I'm like, okay, well, that's where everybody is. So who are you targeting? Where's your business?
And I'll blow your mind on this too, Indy. Sometimes I give a lot more weight to having a dynamic social media presence than your website. Right now, websites are just a one-pager. A one-pager you can create in an hour that says, here's who I am, here's what I sell, and here's what I do. Maybe you have a little Shopify shop or something like that. But people are watching your content. They're deciding whether they want to do business with you based on, she emotionally makes me feel good, so let me keep following her. And by that fifth time you send me a video, it's like, okay, I want to buy whatever she's selling. But people aren't, it's not the same anymore. Digitally, people want to connect now because of COVID, especially what's trending in PR and marketing is people want a more human connection. And so they're wanting the CEOs and the founders to step out from behind the keyboard and tell your story. Tell them why you created what you created. Show us the behind the scenes. What is life like now because of COVID-19? Show us your work from home situation. Show us your dog that won't shut up during Zoom.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They want to know who you are.
Exactly. And so it's a total shift, but that goes into how the public perceives you, and you have to connect online. You have to.
So social media in some aspects is more important than a website.
Yes. Like I said, a landing page, you can throw that up in an hour. The plan is, how can I connect with, first of all, where's my target audience? A lot of people don't even figure that out. They're just like, Shay over here is selling the same thing, so I'm going to do the exact same thing Shay is doing. Well, maybe not. You need to figure out, what age bracket is my customer in? Where do they like to spend their time? And then hit them every single day on that medium. Don't try to be everywhere.
Right.
That's not the name of this game. It may be you're just on LinkedIn and Instagram and that's it. Don't try to do LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Pinterest, all this other stuff. You're wasting your time. As small business owners, you only have so much time per day. Go where your audience is and go where it matters.
So while we're on social media and these apps, I just downloaded Clubhouse about 2 weeks ago. So I'm still new. I'm just trying to figure things out. So tell us, what are the advantages of being on Clubhouse? What is Clubhouse all about for people who don't really know and keep getting these invites from their friends? Like, what is this?
I'm obsessed with Clubhouse. So I'm in the club all day long. But Clubhouse is a social media app. Right now, it's only for iPhone users. They're trying to hurry up and release it to Android users. So sorry if you have a Droid. But in Clubhouse, you're able to, you have like this hallway, which is your feed. And depending on what your interests are, they will push certain rooms that are hosted by people that are having these live discussions. So let's just say for myself, I like marketing, I like PR, I like business and entrepreneurship. So a lot of the rooms in my hallway are like marketing and millions, how to, build your coaching business, how to get press and media, whatever. So people will host rooms. You can go in these rooms and you could just chill in the audience and listen. It's like being at a business conference. I love it. Or if a discussion is going on and you feel like, hey, I can weigh in on this, you can virtually raise your hand. They will bring you up to the stage and you can speak. And that's a way to promote your business, who you are, what you do. And then if they like you, they can leave you on the stage to keep answering people's questions from the audience. And so it's a great interactive, all these different clubs on the Clubhouse, depending on what you like. There's health and wellness, there's romance, there's dating. I like the game. So the game, he's always hosting rooms on just ratchet stuff. And sometimes you want a little ratchet.
Really?
Yeah. Tiffany Haddish hosts rooms all the time. So hers are, sometimes hers are serious, talking about what she has going on in her life. And you can talk to her. You can raise your hand and say, hey, Tiff, I have a question. What was it like getting into the comedy business? And she'll talk to you. It's almost like those three-way chats, we used to have. Well, some of us did.
So do you have any tips for someone who's trying to promote
Absolutely
Clubhouse?
So the first thing you want to do when you get on Clubhouse is just don't get too excited. You want to set up your bio, because your bio is how people are figuring out whether or not they want to connect with you or follow you. So if you go out to my bio, or maybe some of the other people that are in Clubhouse a lot, you'll see we've listed the sun, the moon, and the stars. It's like we've listed all of our awards. We have our websites in there. We have ways you could connect with us offline. We have our business website addresses, just because while you're sitting in these rooms, people are clicking on your face. So we're listening to the speakers, but we're also clicking on the people in the audience to see like, oh, is this somebody I want to virtually network with? Do they have something that possibly I need for my business? Or maybe they're my customer. And the way they're figuring out whether they want to follow you is by looking in your bio. If you have nothing, then you read like nothing and they kind of move on. So the name of the game from a business perspective, I always tell people to network with intentionality. You want people to buy into what you're doing, or you need them in your network because they know somebody that can buy into what you're doing. And the only way they can do that is if you're listing out who you are, what you do, who you serve, and then how they can connect with you in your bio and in your highlight reel. And a lot of people don't like to promote themselves. This is not the platform for you to be humble and shy. You got to really put it out there. I'm an award-winning this. I'm the first Black person to do this. I'm whatever it is, it goes in your bio. You work on your bio first, and then you start networking. So that's my first tip.
I learned that really fast. I joined and I just happened to click on a room that a friend of mine was hosting. She pointed on, did something for me to speak. I'm like, I'm not ready to speak. She said, this is not a place for you to be shy. This is a place for you to promote, be bold, and talk about yourself and what you need. So
exactly. And people need it. And it's not just in Dallas. It's from all over the world. I just got out of a room with someone in France that needed LinkedIn tips. Easy. I can do that right here from Dallas. So it's not just a local thing. And like you said, it's not a time for you to be shy at all. It's a time for you to show off what you know, and really connect with people from all over the world. And you can make some major money on this platform.
So first thing I need to do is put something in my bio.
Yes. You need to put something in your bio, and then I tell people to be really careful who you follow. So this is not the platform to follow all your friends. So I just told mine ahead of time. If I'm not following you back, don't take it personal, because I want my Clubhouse feed. I split it up into two categories. One is here's the business development that I personally need. So I need to be in the millionaires room trying to figure out how they do it, right? And then on the other side is where are my target customers? And I'm in those rooms because 9 times out of 10, I'm the only marketer in there. I'm the only public relations expert. So there's 200 of them. And I was in one last week where it was all fashion people. They didn't know anything about YouTube. So I raise my hand, I get on stage, and I talk for about 5 minutes. YouTube is the number 2 search engine, so if you're not putting videos on YouTube, and I get real nerdy, I get off that stage. I have people setting up calls. They have come over to my Instagram. I have 50 new followers. And it just, that was just me speaking on stage one time. So imagine if you duplicated that once a day, 5 days a week.
Right.
Incredible.
So you can find rooms or topics that pertain to you and your business and enable you to promote your business, because you can go in there and then shine on the stage.
Yes.
And get a bunch of followers, make some money, whatever.
But let me tell you, it's such a supportive app if you're in the right rooms. Like I've seen people we were talking about in our offhand discussion where there was a girl that was like, look, I'm here for sales help. I don't know what's going on. Is it my website? Is it my social media? I haven't made a sale in a year. And everybody in that room went in and purchased something from her that day. And she made so much money because they were like, we're business owners too. We just want to support you. And I've seen just so many positive things out of that app, especially if you come vulnerable. It's like, I don't know how to do this in my business. Everybody hops in and they're there to help you.
That's so awesome. So now I have to really get involved with Clubhouse. There's another thing for me to do. Look at you, Leah, making me do stuff.
Listen, sometimes you don't even really have to say anything. You know, I've gained so much in Clubhouse just by listening. I'm like, man, I can't figure out this one marketing strategy. One night there was the room. I was in there 3 hours taking pages worth of notes that if I were to interact with these people, they would have charged tens of thousands of dollars. And so sometimes, you could be a fly on the wall and just listen. But also know that in listening, people are still clicking on your profile, trying to see, do I want to follow her? Maybe I want to connect with her offline. So still, like you said earlier, be prepared, but you can chill. You don't have to speak every time, but know that when you speak and you can speak on your subject matter, just know these people in Clubhouse are hungry. They're ready to work with you. They're they're ready to buy your programs, whatever you have set up. So be prepared and be ready that it could really grow your following if you work it right.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that's definitely a new way of marketing. How long does Clubhouse? It's only a few months old, right?
Yeah, it came out. I got in November, but a couple of my friends were in early October. So I know that, and now the floodgates are open. So it's been out, but not that long.
Yeah, it's still kind of in the early stages. See, Leah has Jasmine, it says, hey, Leah, if someone only has $1,000 to spend on marketing, PR, what do you recommend they spend it on to get the most value?
I personally, because again, I think you can PR yourself and not pay a major agency or any. Now it is worth it, but if you had $1,000 to spend, I definitely probably would not spend it on PR because that's something you can do for yourself. I would try to figure out, depending on what your product is, I would put that $1,000 maybe towards social media. If you can do some digital advertising in some sort of way, I would put my money towards that. And then come holler at me and I can tell you how to get some placements or some free media coverage. That way you can maximize, your dollars, but definitely on your digital marketing. Yeah.
Okay. One question outside of digital marketing, and this is one thing that I've been asking myself, why is it important to trademark your business and what route should you take with that?
It's definitely important before you start building, France and everything else. You definitely need to figure out if someone else is already out there operating with the name that you have for your business and in the manner that you have it set up. Because if you don't do that research and you start building that business, now again, this isn't legal advice and yada, yada, yada. But if you start building that business and you find out later down the road, someone in Florida has that same business, they can issue you a cease and desist. They could shut your business down, and they can also ask for the money that you've made in the name of that business. Like they could go after the profits that you earned because you infringed on their trademark. And so I know for a lot of small businesses, legal fees it's tough. But if you had, so we were talking about having an extra $1,000, I definitely would get with an intellectual property attorney, maybe have them do a search for you just to let you know what is out there. That way you don't get slapped many years down the road after you start really profiting and maximizing your business and learning that someone has had the same thing all these years before.
Oh, that would be devastating.
And I've actually, there was a jewelry designer here in Dallas that this happened to many, many years ago, and she was crushed, and she did not recover from it, unfortunately. So definitely, if you know that you have your pulse on something, your hands on the pulse of something, as soon as you get your funds, go ahead, and it's been out in the marketplace for a while, and you've been making t-shirts, or you have a shop set up, or you have the website set up, go ahead and talk to a trademark attorney and get that filed if you can, so that you don't have to go to sleep at night thinking that somebody is going to pop you with a cease and desist because they're operating with the same name under the same business type.
Yeah, and you lose your dream.
Yeah, you lose your dream, and it's hard. It's hard to keep going with a trademark. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, earlier I mentioned that we are giving away $10,000 in advertising. And the way you can win is you have to know the code word for the week. And this week's code word is David Stewart.
Ooh.
David is the chairman and founder of Worldwide Technology, one of the largest African-American owned businesses in America. In the early days, Stewart sometimes went without a paycheck. And once he watched his car get repossessed from the office parking lot, today he is majority of the nearly $12 billion in sales company, whose customers include Citi, Verizon, and the federal government. He grew up in the segregated South with 7 siblings. His father worked as a mechanic, janitor, and trash collector. Current net worth, $3.7 billion.
That's amazing. I'm clapping for that.
It can happen.
Yay, David.
Yes. So you have to go to magic945.com or thebeatdfw.com. Click on contest to enter, and the winner will be selected the first week of March. That is $10,000.
And let me just say, advertising right now during COVID is on the cheap. I would take this deal. I would listen to all of these, get all the keywords. This is amazing. Much needed.
So we'll be doing this each week, every Tuesday, 6 p.m. So you'll have a chance to enter every week for that $10,000. We're going to have a guest speaker that's going to motivate and push you in the right direction to help your business be successful. Not just in 2021, but forever, ever. Forever. Leah, is there anything else you want to add? How do people keep in touch with you? Tell us about your book, your upcoming book.
Yes. So I just dropped my ebook a couple of days ago. It's called Lessons from the Bottom, Losing Oneself to Gain Success. So just like David's story, it's the first time that I'm ever telling people what really happened after I went into full-time entrepreneurship. Just losing pretty much everything that I owned in order to keep my business going. I didn't know business. I jumped because remember I said I wanted to do the fun stuff, but I didn't prepare to do the fun stuff. I just took that leap of faith because it was the cool thing to do, and it ended up costing me everything. And however, at the bottom, after I lost my car, I lost everything that I owned. I was selling everything. I got evicted. I mean, you name it. I took public transportation for a year and no one even knew. I was out. I was still cute, but in this Texas heat, walking 2 miles to put on a presentation and try not to sweat because I didn't want them to know I didn't have a car, And
nobody has to know your struggles,
nobody knew. Nobody knew until I started talking about it. They were like, wait, you didn't have a car? No, I didn't have a vehicle for an entire year. And I just lost everything that I owned that I worked so hard for when I was an attorney. But while I was on the bottom, I learned all these lessons. I learned business. I learned structure. I learned systems. I learned what to charge. I learned my worth. I learned that a lot of the material stuff didn't matter because I loved my clients so much. And so when I wanted to give up, I thought about them. and I learned my grit. So nothing now can stop me, because I was like, when you look around and everything is gone and you're walking 2 or 3 miles to put on a presentation to pay your phone bill, nothing can stop me now because I've been there. And so it's a really short ebook, but it talks about that journey, because I know it's a season of loss for a lot of people. So it's to inspire people, and to have them I want people to be hopeful, to know that you will come out on the other side. And like, God gave me back everything tenfold. And so now I'm like, I'm a great steward with everything that he's given me. So that came out. It's on my website, leahfrazier.com. And for all of my social media people, you can go to the link in my bio, and I have the link for the ebook in my bio as well.
Awesome. One thing that stood out to me and what you just said, everything was amazing, but just knowing your worth, knowing what your knowledge is worth, your company is worth, that's a very important, because when you know your worth, you know your value, you know what, to expect from others, and you give the best of yourself, so
yeah,
I think that's really important.
And at the end of the day, when I had nothing, I was like, well, it can't get no worse than this. So, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's like the price was the price. Even though I needed it, I learned to stand firm and know this is what it is. This is what I bring to the table. If you can't pay it, oh well. And sure enough, every time I did that, something better was around the corner. It was somebody that knew it. So I held off. I didn't take the easy money, even though I'm sitting here like, okay, rent's due in 2 hours. And I got 3 cents in my bank account.
Oh, wow.
Like,
listen, we all been there. Or most of us have. So we can all relate. We can all relate in some way, shape, or fashion. But thank you so much for all the great information you shared. I made all my mental notes, and now that we're done, I am going to write down everything so I don't forget. And, I believe this is being recorded so people can go back and watch it again in case they missed something. So
I'm an educator. I teach at Texas Wesleyan, UTD. And so I have a ton, like, you can go to my YouTube channel. I have a ton of videos on social media, branding, asking for what you're worth, finances. If you go to the link in my bio on Instagram, I have freebies there for you guys. So if you don't know how to approach the press and media, I literally just last week created a step-by-step with a video with me telling you how to do it, on how to approach the press and media for free coverage. So there's really no excuse. You just got to lean in and get it done.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for the free goodies. I'm clicking on the link in your bio to get my free goodies guaranteed. And thank you so much, Leah. It was a pleasure talking to you again. Like I said, we got to talk on Friday, and I was really excited about today. So thank you for everything that you've shared with us. And I want to let everybody know we are doing this again next Tuesday with a new guest, because that's what our goal for the month is, to help Black-owned businesses. And we're going to accomplish that with all these expert testimonies and advice and everything else. So thank you so much, Leah. And don't forget to go on the website, Magic with a J, 945.com or thebeatdfw.com, and click on contest to enter for your chance to win $10,000 in advertising for your business.
That is gold.
And the code word for the last time, not saying it again. If you miss it, you just miss it this time. David Stewart is the code word for this week. Thank you all for joining us, and I will see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. for the next part of our Black Excellence Live series. Thank you again, Leah.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
All right.